Hello, I'm Gavin Macarone.
And I'm Hennessy Arzolo. Welcome to Fred TV News. This episode is all about what's up, what's happening in the community, what's happening in Durfee, and more.
So Hennessy, what's our first news story about? Fall River? Durfee? Food? Can it please be food? I'm really hungry.
Well, be patient. First off, let's see what the hidden treasures of Fall River are.
Wait, so whose news story is it? Oh, it's mine. It was very cool to visit some unique places in Fall River. There are so many that people don't know about.
We all know that Fall River is home to many interesting places like Lizzie Borden's home, Battleship Cove, and so much more. But there's way more that meets the eye in Fall River. I'm going to take you to 4 historical places in Fall River. Let's go take a look. One of the most recent historic sites in Fall River is Bicentennial State Park. This park was dedicated to the soldiers who gave their lives up for the war. Our first historical monument in this park is a wall with several thousand names dedicated to the soldiers that gave their lives for the war. And then behind me, we have a enormous central monument dedicated to the warriors.
It means a lot. It's got a place that normally you'll just see a lot of things, bad things going on in the city, but there's that spot down there we can all go, meet families, meet friends, and become friends for months and months and years. But it's somewhere for all those who served in no matter what branch it is, we have a place to go. To get away from everything and just have calm. That's what it does for us.
I think the wall represents some amount of healing for our veterans.
The Fall River Carousel, located at Battleship Cove, is nearly a century old.
It was built by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company in the 1920s. It was a Class A platform carousel, and it was the 54th in the series of the 87 made at the time.
Working at the carousel was like a dream come true. I grew to love the carousel for all of its history, what it meant to the people who came to see it, to new little babies who were riding it for the first time, to hear kids laughing when they left. It was just a fun place, a fun job, but it was a hard job.
St. Anne's Church is immersed in history.
This church was built in 1891 by Napoleon Bourassa Louis and is famous for its architectural prowess in using a type of art from the modern French Renaissance style.
The gates to the city are not just the gates to Fall River.
They are also the gates to Ponte Delgada, San Miguel's capital city, but it's just a replica meant to represent the bond between the two countries.
So those were 4 historical places in Fall River. If you ever come down to visit, why not check them out for yourself? I'm Gavin Macarone. Have a fantastic day.
That was an excellent news story, Gavin. I really enjoyed it, and I know that there is a lot of history in this community.
Thank you, Hennessy. Our next news story also has something to do with history. It's the history of video games.
Video games have changed a lot over the years. So, how do we get to where we are today? So, let's talk about consoles.
From the oldest video game system in 1972, called the Magnavox Odyssey, to the new gaming systems like today, like the Nintendo Switch OLED or the Xbox Series X. Video games have come a long way from the old 2D graphics and slow consoles. We now have realistic high definition and high-end game consoles that are more attractive and have better performance and a more realistic feel. The first ever console was called the Magnavox Odyssey, which was released in 1972. It was very limited with only 3 games, table tennis, Analogic, and Submarine. The graphics were very good by today's standards, but games still work very well. Now let's talk about the Atari. It was released in 1976 and was a big hit. This console, unlike the Magnavox Odyssey, has a very wide variety of games, but the most popular out of all of them has to be Space Invaders. The Atari had a better performance than the Magnavox Odyssey. Now let's skip to the next decade, the 80s. In 1983, the Nintendo Entertainment System was released. This console had a library of games that are some of the most iconic. The graphics were definitely better. Now we're skipping to the 2000s and 2020s. In 2005, the Xbox 360 was released, and this console had amazing 3D graphics for its time. and also amazing games. Long after the Xbox One came out and had even better graphics and games. Now in 2020, the PS5 came out and had amazing original games made by PlayStation, which have won multiple awards. The graphics on this console are one of the best graphics on any console so far, and I'm sure they'll get even better in the future. Although the gaming industry has changed over the years, one thing remains the same. Video games can help us deal with stress, strengthen friendships, and teach us valuable life lessons, according to Forbes EQ. Video games can also improve hand-eye coordination and can be a great resource for kids with special needs. Well, hopefully you learned a little bit about the various gaming systems, and I'm very happy to be living in a world where we have such advanced technology like this. I can't wait to see the future of video games and consoles. And with that, I'll see you later. Bye.
I'm a big fan of video games, and I'm very thankful that I'm born in this century because the video game graphics and realistic feel are so much better today than they were long ago.
Hennessy, you know what goes really well with video games? Food, snacks, but it is a bad combination of low activity and high cholesterol, depending on your snacks. But guess what? There are alternatives to those high carb, high sugar, and high GMO snacks. Here's Sam to tell you all about it.
We all love junk food, and even though it tastes so good, it's not always the healthiest. So what if there was an alternative? Let's find out. The average chocolate bar has 42 grams of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. But there is hope. There is a healthier version called Cocoa Bar, made from natural cocoa plants. It is just as good as a regular chocolate bar, and it's less sugar too. What's the benefit of eating more healthier food than junk food?
So one of the reasons, definitely weight management. It controls what you can look like and what you can feel like yourself. But the main thing that I think for a benefit is mental health. Every time I go to the gym, it definitely makes me feel better and definitely improves my mood.
But what if you could still enjoy the crunchy, salty taste of chips without the bad stuff? It's called sweet potato chips. I know what it sounds like, but it's actually made with healthy ingredients that benefit you. They contain keratin, which actually can help with your immune system. You should definitely try these chocolate chunk cookies. They are gluten-free, kosher, non-GMO, and 100% vegan. They only have 5 grams of sugar in them, and they're made with coconut sugar, oats, and dates. So they are a better version of the typical chocolate chip cookie that is loaded with fat, sugar, and the bad stuff. If you're not sure on what's good or bad for you, check out the app Yuka.
Now I'm really craving some nice healthy snacks. Speaking of which, our next story is still about food. In a way, it's about a career in culinary or just cooking as a hobby, no matter what you decide.
Most of us love food, right? And we would agree that we need it to survive. But what if you wanted to make food about your life? Not just because you love to eat, but because it's your passion. I'm talking about having a career as a chef, and that's exactly what I want to do. Becoming a chef is a dream for many. So how do you make that happen? There are many ways to creating a successful career in culinary. First things first, you have to try different types of food so you know what they taste like. Next, you have to learn or experience different ways of cooking. Don't be afraid to try new things and learn from mistakes. And remember, when first starting out, it's important to understand how to follow a recipe. What made you want to become a chef?
My mom, because she's a chef and she helps me every day.
Some people start by taking culinary classes in high school to get their initial experience. Others continue on to college or culinary institutes, such as the Culinary Institute of America, Boston University, and Newport Cooks. Others start at home as a hobby, which then later develops into a passion or even a career. What is involved in becoming a chef?
So that is a definite loaded question, but some of the main things you can do and the things you need is definitely time management. There's so many things to do in a kitchen. You have to be able to manage your time in a way that you can get 8 things done at once. Being able to work long hours on your feet. We come in at 7:30, and we won't get home until 5, 6 o'clock. If you're working the late shift, you might not get home till 12, 1, 2 o'clock. And most of that time it's on your feet nonstop. It's hot. So really just being able to work and thrive in an environment which is nonstop and crazy. We see that in here in culinary. the students that thrive best here are people that are students that like to use their hands and like to be hands-on engaged instead of sitting down behind a laptop or a book. For me, when I was in high school, it was really tough for me to concentrate behind a book or a laptop, but when I got into the kitchen, I didn't focus on anything but my task at hand.
There are so many careers in culinary: chef, pastry chef, sous chef, food stylist, food technologist, restaurant management, personal chef, cake decorator, etc. Whether you start your culinary path by taking classes in school to start a career, or simply having a foodie lifestyle, learning how to cook is an essential part of life in becoming an adult, and it's fun too.
Wow, being a chef takes a lot of work. There's so much to learn, and the Durfee High School Culinary Program is a great place to start. Here at Durfee High School, you can also learn to be a great actor. Here's my co-host, Hennessy, with her story on the Durfee Theater Company.
Hey, I'm Hennessy, and here at high school, they usually tell you to join as many activities as possible, and DTC is one of those activities. It's not just an activity, though. We become friends, and those friends become family. You know what? Let's check it out. There are many ways to get involved in Durfee Theater Company. You can look around the school for flyers about upcoming auditions, ask our directors, Mrs. Terry and Mr. Bigelow, come see a production to see if you'd be interested, or even take some acting, music, or musical theater classes at school. And definitely, you'll want to meet with your guidance counselors to join. Why did you join Durfee Theater Company?
I joined Durfee Theater because it was something I really enjoyed. I've done performing since I was in first grade, and I've always loved being on stage, so when I was presented with the opportunity to do something slightly different from what I was used to, I was really excited to try it out. I feel like the people in Durfee Theater are really wonderful. We really are one big family. I feel like once you spend a certain amount of time with everyone, you just get to know everyone really well and really closely, and it's such a fun journey getting to learn and grow with everyone there. Durfee Theater has really helped me with my patience as a person, but also seeing the perspective of others. And I think it's helped me grow my own personality, especially with acting. It's shown me different ways to view people and different ways to present myself so that I can craft the own image of what I want people to see and not something that's not true.
When you start seeing flyers around Durfee, usually they'll have the songs you'll practice for the role you're going to audition for. During the audition process, this is where you'll start creating bonds and friendships, working with each other to perfect your craft and calm your nerves. Once you've gained membership into the theater company, you'll create even more bonds with people because we spend a lot of time with each other rehearsing. During rehearsals, even though we're very hardworking for our shows, we definitely have fun. How has Durfee Theater Company helped you in your life and just in the long run?
Well, I'll tell you, it's the students who've kept me younger than my actual age, and that's because I'm with them a lot, and they make me feel good, and they're lovely to me, and I'm proud to see how they make their achievements in life. Durfee Theater has grown a long way. When I first came in, back in all those years ago, I think we had maybe 10 or 11 students, 12 students, and over the years, the theater company has built itself up, so it's grown a lot, and our productions have gotten better to the point now where we think that they're very professional quality.
Durfee Theater Company feels more like a family every day. Everyone here helps each other with struggles, life changes, and it's just supportive. DTC isn't just a Durfee thing. It's a way to make relationships that'll last even after Durfee. In Durfee Theater Company, we dedicate so much of our time and passion to our productions that it's just so easy to get along. And to me, it already feels like a family. I'm Hennessy. I'll see you on stage. I'm really hoping my news story helps to give you an inside look at how amazing DTC is and help gain more members. One of my favorite things about being involved in DTC is that we sometimes perform musicals as productions. You might say this is music to my ears. Speaking of music, it's everywhere, which is exactly what our next news story is about.
You may not realize this, but music is everywhere, every single day. Think about your everyday life. Do you realize how many times you hear music?
Music is everywhere. In movies, in malls, at the gas pump, on our phones and computers, on social media, in waiting rooms, at the gym, in video games, and so much more. Do you think that music has impacted the world, and how?
Absolutely, music has impacted the world. It's everywhere. It's in every culture. It's in every corner of the globe. There is no human evolution without music. So music actually reinforces all the other subjects. So it enforces math. We do fractions in music. We do poetry and lyrics in music. We do science because of the sound waves. So it just reinforces every other subject that you take in school.
So what impact does music have in our daily lives? When listening to music, your brain releases dopamine, which is a chemical that produces happiness. Listening to music can reduce anxiety, blood pressure, pain, and sleep quality, mood, mental alertness, and memory.
Music speaks to me in a lot of different ways. One, in a calming sort of a way. It can really relax me and help me feel at peace. Another way, though, that I use music is to kind of get energized or get into the zone, get locked in to any certain type of way. If I'm feeling like if I need to get like revved up, or if I know like I'm driving in traffic and I need like something to like, get me like revved up to drive well and not irresponsibly, then I may put something on that speaks to that moment or that mood.
Without music, life would be expressionless. Imagine if you were at a party. All you would hear is the sound of people talking and the stomping of their feet. Or if you were in a theater watching a movie with no music, the scene would be less impactful. The same could be said for a graduation, which is the most memorable moments of your life. Imagine only hearing the sound of your own feet walking to grab a paper and the sound of people clapping. Without music, life would feel expressionless.
In short, music is everywhere. It's had an effect on you, me, and the whole world. I'm Lamar So, and this is Fred TV.
You're right, Hennessy. Music is everywhere, even in the classroom for future forensic scientists. Have you ever thought about how important forensics is in keeping us safe every day or in the court of law? It's because of forensics that we are able to catch criminals and solve crimes.
With evidence of crime increasing around the world, we are now more than ever seeing the value of the people that can solve these crimes. This is where law and science meet. So hello to all my fellow forensics fanatics.
Scientific evidence of some kind is expected in every case by 46% of jurors when deciding on a case or someone's fate. So how do we get that evidence? Forensics. Toxicology, DNA testing, handwriting analysis, fire, and explosive examinations. No matter what case is being investigated, forensic scientists will be putting their all into solving it.
Has there ever been a specific time in your life where your knowledge regarding forensic science has actually come in handy?
Yes, so in college, my internship was with the Bristol County District Attorney's Office in New Bedford, and I actually got to sit with the district attorneys in the courtroom and watch the cases and play out and see all the stuff that happened behind the scenes in the courtroom.
And what impact do you believe teaching forensic science has?
So forensic science is a huge field that's up and coming. And so any students that can get interested in it and get into the field is great for the field of forensic science. And I just think it would be great for kids to be interested in it.
Have you ever been part of a jury duty where forensic science information has been involved to have a clear argument?
Unfortunately, I have not been picked to be on a jury, although that is one of my lifelong dreams. I do think it is important for jurors to have knowledge of forensics to be on a jury. However, based on how juries work, each side gets to pick their own jurors, so the defense necessarily wouldn't want people with knowledge of forensic science on the jury, while the prosecution would.
No matter where you go in the world, unfortunately, there's always crime. So forensics is, and always will be, a valuable asset to any investigation, now and in the future. Soon enough, it will be up to you, as our forensic fanatics, to solve it. Every police department, whether state or municipal, works with a forensic laboratory when investigating major crimes. In Massachusetts, typically it is the Massachusetts State Crime Lab in Maynard, Mass., or its partner labs locally. We can see very well that our forensic investigators are hard at work constantly, helping serve justice on our streets. The impact forensic science has affects an entire community. It's safe to say that our state and our community has been affected for the better, all thanks to forensic science and how it aids law.
Forensic science is a profession that excites many while also doing life-changing work. And to those who aren't excited, maybe I can change your mind.
Wow, that's so interesting. I just thought forensics was like dissecting a frog in a high school class.
That's biology.
I never knew that law enforcement and forensic science helped each other so much.
Well, that's all for this newscast. I'm Gavin Macaron.
And I'm Hennessy Arzola for Fred TV News.